Hello, in this lesson we will look at how to properly format a modified block style letter. For demonstration purposes and for the activity you will be completing, you'll be using a thank you letter. So the purpose obviously is to say thank you to somebody for some reason. Now we have in front of us a sample letter. It has all the right parts. We'll talk about the parts as we come to them. But the first thing we need to do is change the margins. The margins for any formal letter are typically going to be a 2-inch top margin, 1 inch left and right, and 1 inch bottom. In order to set the margins, we need to go to the Page Layout ribbon, click on Margins, and we can scroll to see if there's anything usable, but I don't see one that will suit our purposes. Remember, we need a 2-inch top margin, so we're going to choose Custom Margins. This dialog box allows me to set a top margin of 2 inches, so all I have to do is type a 2 in the box. Everything else will remain as it is. Click OK and you'll notice that we have a wider top margin. The next thing that we need to do is to set a tab stop. Because I said we were using a modified block letter, that means that this information right here, this is the return sender's address, or the return address. So if I were composing this letter, this would be my address. That is always followed by the date. So this is the return address and the date. Those all need to be at the 3.25 mark on our page. Now that sounds a little confusing, but it's actually quite simple. You may need to click on the View ribbon and check the box for the ruler. That will toggle on and off so that we have this ruler right here. On the far left, you have a small L that indicates a left tab. So if I were to click on my ruler, it will create a left tab. There are a variety of tab stops that I could create. If I click on the L, it turns to a center tab, a right tab, a decimal tab. So we are going to cycle back through and leave it at left. Now because I have 3 lines of text that I want indented at that point, I need to first select all 3 lines, and then I can click where I want that tab to go. Now I said earlier I wanted it at the 3.25 mark, so here's 3. This would be 3.5, so we're going to create that right here, right in the middle. All I did was click on the roller bar and it inserts that tab stop. Now nothing actually happened in the document. I still have to go to the beginning of the line and press the tab key. Notice it moved it all the way over to the 3.25 mark. We're going to repeat that step for the next 2 lines. Click in front of Virginia Beach, press the tab key, click in front of the date and press the tab key. Now the next thing that we need to adjust is the spacing between the date and this next set of lines. This next set of information is the sender's address. So that's where the letter is actually going to. So I'm sending this letter to Double Decker Cafe and Pastry Parlor. So I said there needs to be a quadruple space. A quadruple space means that you press the Enter key 4 times. So if I push my down arrow key, I go 1, 2, gets me to that line of text right there. So I need to press Enter 2 more times. 1, 2. I can double check that this is correct by clicking at the end of December 2013. Push the down arrow key 4 times and it should end up on the first line of my next address. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's perfect. Notice that there's 1 blank line between the address and what we call the salutation, the Dear Miss Winowski. That's what we call a double space. If I push the arrow key down 1, 2, that is a double space. So there's 1 blank line between the text. Notice that after the salutation, there's a double space before the paragraph starts. And then the paragraphs are single spaced with a double space between them. For modified block letters, it is acceptable to indent those paragraphs. We only want them indented 1/2 inch, which is the default tab stop. And next we come down to our complimentary closing. Our complimentary closing includes sincerely or best wishes, regards, some type of close, and then who we're sending it from. So this would be my name if I were sending this particular letter. This entire block also needs to be at the 3.25 mark. So again, I'm going to select the text, click on my ruler at about 3.25, and then I can press tab, click and press tab, click and press tab. Now, I want to look at the spacing between sincerely and our name. There should be a quadruple space here because I need room to sign the letter. So again, if I push the down arrow key, I can see how many spaces I currently have. 1, 2. So this is currently only a double space. So let's add 2 more spaces. Enter, enter. Let's double check it now. Click at the end, down arrow key, 1, 2, 3, 4. That puts me on the right line for my text. So that is how you format a modified letter.